Hello, this is Mad Cat, and I'm kind of doing an impromptu video right now. Waiting for this to load up on my laptop so I can turn the sound off. There we go. Oh, hold on, I want to make sure this is actually recording. Just a sec. Oh, sure, now it's buffering. Right now. Okay, good. Waiting for this. All right, I'm sorry for that. I've just been doing a whole lot with my new setup here. The camera is actually hooked up to this computer, but it's like all the way around right here, so it's crazy. So this is a review of Digital Storm. And this is a computer I got from them. I know that many other people have done reviews on this, but I wanted to give my personal review on this. Now, if you're just going to stop by for a few seconds to see what I have to say, I mean, the title says it all. Amazing computer, service lacking. And my ultimate review is, it is a really great computer. I'm very happy with it. And I will go into detail of how I really dislike their customer service. It's kind of one of those buyer beware sort of things. Would I recommend buying it? Yes. The product is definitely worth it. But, I'm hoping that, maybe the company sees this and they're like, hey, we need to make some changes around here. And other people are aware of what they're getting into when they order from this company. I do recommend the product. I do say go out there if you got the money and buy it. However, there are a couple of things to be aware of. Now, for anyone who's watched my channel before, you know that money has always been hard for me to come by, especially with my disability. And I want to put that out of the way first. I got this, this was about $2,000. And I got this because I did a medical study here in Arizona, which allowed me some extra money. So I've been doing a lot of things that I've needed to do to kind of get a good jump start on my 5-year plan. As far as my 5-year plan, I want financial independence by the end of 2025. And for me, that's always been like an insurmountable task. Like, I didn't think it could really be done, but I had to try. I had to do everything I could. And this computer was always a part of that. I figured it would take me about a year or two to get this computer. And doing this medical study kind of jump-started that. Like, it might end up being a 3-year plan. So I'm still working on the book, which is now going to be called the Boys and Men's Issues Handbook. Going to be doing the Indiegogo campaign in May, so watch out for that. The other thing also is I'm going to be working for Primerica. I'm getting my insurance license in Arizona. I'm sure there's going to be people out there like, oh, don't do Primerica. They're evil. They're a pyramid scheme. Oh, this and that. And I have my complaints with Primerica, so there's probably nothing you could say. I did a lot of research on this company, but I feel very confident that I can still get something out of this company for myself. If nothing else, I get an education on the financial stuff. This is probably distracting seeing this. Oh, sure. That doesn't want to work now. Come on. Oh, because I disabled the... hold on one sec. Now. There we go. This keyboard, I can disable the Windows key, which is awesome. All right, so let's talk about this computer. Now, the first thing I will say is that I have a degree in computers. I have a bachelor's of science. I know a lot about computers. And while I haven't really touched computers in the last 10 years, I mean, in a serious way, there really hasn't been that much change to them. There's impressive technologies that have come out, but it's still pretty much the same as I went to college Well, I went to college in 2003, so it's been 17. Damn, I'm old. But it really hasn't changed from what I've learned. I'm still very familiar with it all. So when I had decided to do this, I actually called the company themselves. I had called them up and I'm like, look, I want to make sure that I know everything I can about this computer. And they took me step by step through it all. And I'm going to go over the good stuff before I go over the bad stuff. Now, one thing that I could have gotten with this is a free overclocking of the video card. They told me not to do that. Now, I got a water cooling for the CPU, but it would have cost a lot more to get it for the GPU. So since I wasn't getting it, there was no reason to overclock it. I did overclock the CPU. This is a 3.5 gigahertz, and it's now running at 4.6 gigahertz with the overclocking. It has a water cooling unit. By the way, this is glass right here on all the sides. And it's like, I didn't know it when I was buying it that this would be glass. I thought that this was just a display and the rest of it was just like an aluminum. I mostly got it because of these three fans right here. I don't know how well you can see that. I think you can, but it has these three fans, which is just really cool to look at. Also, not that remote. Oh, goody. Now I can't find that remote. I'm sure it will. Oh, there it is. I also have this ability. I can change the color of it. It can do other things as well, like dim, and then there's like a snake thing. So that's pretty cool. That was an extra feature I added on there. I believe that was free, actually. I like that color. So, I didn't opt for that. I also did not opt for SLI, which I actually regret doing. But I'll explain that later. But, they said that for being a budget PC that I was doing, don't get SLI. I don't need SLI. The video card that I got was good enough. So, they took me through all of it and I felt very satisfied. They said that they're very meticulous in building this. They double check every screw. They give it a thorough test. Another thing I also like is when you get a computer from like Dell or HP, there is so much bloatware on there, in all honesty. And it's like, I don't like it. No, thank you. And I end up going in there and uninstalling it. Doing it through this, they didn't do any of that. In fact, I could have opted for them to go in there and turn off features, but I can do that myself. I know how to optimize the computer for my specific needs. But so there's just so much about this that's great. And I've been playing Battletech on this. I've been playing XCOM 2. XCOM 2 is kind of my litmus of how good a computer can be, because that actually has a lot, especially with all the mods I put on there. This computer I have right here, which you can't really see too well, it can play XCOM, but it's a laptop. It overheats. So this computer is really, really good. I am like so happy that for once in my life, I have a computer that is modern. I mean, I've always had, I built my last computer that I really had, the last PC I had. And I always like Frankensteined it with parts, but it was very limited. And by 2016, it became obsolete. I couldn't really do that much anymore with it. And doing videos like this, I mean, especially doing Udemy, I couldn't do it. And the reason I got this computer is I needed something that could do high quality videos, 1080p. I mean, the last thing I need to buy is a camera, which I'm going to go with the Logitech Brio. I want a handy cam, but those are way too expensive. And the Brio should be able to do what I need it to do. So let's discuss the negatives. I boast how great this computer is, and it's definitely worth it. But let's discuss the negatives. So I'll kind of go in order as things happen for me. So after I got done with that call and I got the money in, I went back through this thing and I got pretty much what they suggested I get. I upgraded the video card just to make it a little bit more powerful because this is capable of VR, which is something I want to get into eventually. That's maybe like 3 years down the line. But there's this VR project I really want to get into that might actually help with writing. So I won't say anything more than that, but it is something I'm really interested in doing. So I did that. Of course, I got the water cooling. So I got everything I wanted, and I ordered it. And I was very impressed with the company because they said it would take 15 business days for me to get it. And they were emailing me every step they were going through. Now, when I looked at their itinerary of everything they would be doing, their estimation was actually like anywhere from 20 to 45 business days for this whole process to be complete. And they're advertising 15 business days. So I'm like, okay, that's a little strange right there. I don't know why they did that, but okay, that's what they did. But they were emailing me every step of the way. They were zooming past it. And it must have, I ordered it on the 6th. And by the 17th, so that was 5, 6, 7. On the 7th business day, they were ready to ship it out. I mean, I was getting emails almost every day or every other day saying that they were going to the next step, which was awesome. And then the 17th, they told me they were ready to ship it out. It would take 1 to 3 business days to get that ready and ship it out. And it was by ground. It was from California, and I'm in Arizona. So I was thinking by the 21st, I would get it. Or actually, by the 20th, I would get it. Because as fast as they were going, they would get it shipped out. It would take like 2 days ground, and I'd get it on the 20th. But I heard nothing. I mean, 1 to 3 business days, I should have heard something by the 19th that they were shipping it out. And I heard nothing at all. So I called on Friday. And I'm like, what's going on here? Because, I'm ordering this computer. This is a game changer for me. And I'm willing to wait. And I just heard nothing after a week of getting constant emails telling me every step that they were doing and how long it should take. And they're zooming through it and then no communication whatsoever. That was jarring. That was frustrating. I mean, if they are saying, hey, we're backed up right now, there's going to be a delay, I would have been fine with that. At least I was getting something from them. And if they said, hey, it's going to take us a week to do this, 2 weeks to do this, fine. I'm more than happy to wait for this as long as there's communication. So when I called up, I asked, hey, what's going on with this? And they're like, oh, well, we need to email our supervisor. Or we need to, no, not the supervisor, that came later. We need to email the person at the loading dock to find out what's going on. I'm like, okay, fine. That's a little strange. You can't just put me on hold and call them up and find out what's going on. And I've done tech support before. And yeah, in all the years that I've done tech support, I never had a way of communicating with people who ship things out. But I'm working for big companies like I did AT&T internet support. I did Dell support, Dell computers. I did Apple iPhone support. I've done work for all these major companies. So, of course, I'm not going to have access. But this is a small company. And they had to email the person, hoping that they'd email back. And I was just like, okay, that's a little strange. So on Friday, they told me, well, we'll email you back. Well, we'll call you back when we have an update. We'll try to call you back tomorrow. Well, 22nd didn't happen. They didn't call me back. Now, I meant to call on the 24th. It didn't happen. So the 25th came around and I called them back. I'm like, hey, what's going on? I called you. You told me you'd call me back and you didn't. What's going on with all of this? And I'm like, oh, well, yeah, we see that you called back, but we didn't get any sort of update. So we're going to go ahead and email them out. We're going to go ahead and email them, make sure that they've got everything. And how about you call us back tomorrow to make sure that we did it? Or actually what they said is, why don't you call back tomorrow to confirm everything? And I'm like, I didn't say this to them. I was very nice to them. I just wanted some information of what was going on. But I was thinking, like, you want me to call back to make sure you're doing your job? You can't even do your job properly. But if you say you're going to call me back, you better call me back. I mean, you don't make a promise and then not keep it. And when I call you back, all I hear is, oh, we're sorry for the inconvenience. I can understand how frustrating that is for you. Don't read from a script. Talk to me as a person. And I know you have these scripts that you're supposed to read and you're supposed to give these apologies. You can't directly say that you're sorry because you're admitting liability. You have to say, I apologize. I get it. But it just felt like I'm giving you all this money and you're reading from a script and you can't even get someone on the phone to find out what's going on. You have to email them. Anyways, I called back in and I got a different person. And apparently this woman has a lot more capability than any of the other agents. I think she's like a senior agent or something. So it was a fluke that I got her, I guess. I don't know. Or maybe she was the agent that I was supposed to be talking to, and the times I called in, she wasn't available. I don't know. But she kind of explained it to me. Well, actually, she explained it to me the second time I talked to her. The first time I talked to her, she's like, well, it looks like they were just trying to order this send this out in bulk. I'll go ahead and get them to send this out I'll get them to send this out. So yeah, that happened. So yeah, I'm kind of getting my times confused right now. But anyways, they said they'd send it out and that I should receive it by Thursday. Well, actually, they would be shipping it out by Thursday. I'm like, okay, great. I finally have something. Surprise, surprise, I actually got it on Thursday. And I believe Thursday was actually the 15th business days. 5, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah. So I think the 27th was the 15th business day. But from what I understand in calling them is that 15 business days isn't when I'm supposed to receive it. It's when they actually ship it out. So it's a little deceptive on the website. Hold on, I want to double check. Nope, no comments. So, yeah. So I got everything except the keyboard. I ordered a mouse and keyboard combo. Because, I do have some standard keyboards, but I didn't get the actual keyboard. And when I called up, they're like, well, sometimes the peripherals, they'll ship out separately. I'm like, I ordered a monitor, keyboard, and mouse, and I only got the monitor and mouse. Those were supposed to ship with it. Now, this is a meticulous... I understand mistakes happen, and I'm not criticizing them that the keyboard didn't get shipped out. But when I called in, they were convinced the keyboard got shipped out. So I'm like, now I'm in... this was on Thursday when I called them up. And they're like, well, we're not quite sure what's going on with this. We'll go ahead and call you back when we find out. Of course, they didn't call back, but I called them back on Friday. Anyways, to again get the information because they said they'd emailed, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, yeah, we're not sure it got actually... Well, we found it. It didn't get shipped out. My supervisor is checking to find out if it got shipped out today or if it's going to be shipped out tomorrow. I'm like, fine, okay. And I learned through that entire process that apparently there's one guy doing the shipping. One person who's doing it all. And they were supposed to call back, but they didn't. And I called the following Monday to find out if it actually got shipped out or not. Or like, oh, and again, this time they put me on hold. Or actually, they emailed and they had dead air for like 20 minutes. I stayed on the phone with them the whole time until they got it back. I'm like, yes, it did get shipped out on Friday, but the person working in docks didn't put the tracking number into the system. And it's like, okay. And funny enough, that day I ended up getting the keyboard. And that's why they didn't call me back. They didn't call me back because it didn't update in the system for the keyboard. So then I didn't get the tracking number, and then I ended up getting it that day. But it was just like, what's interesting about Digital Storm is like the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. I mean, the techs building the computer, they know what they're doing. They're emailing me constantly, great. And they describe themselves as a very meticulous company. Like in their instructions, they say, we check to make sure every screw is in place. And, you know, it was that kind of assurance that convinced me to buy from them in the first place. Sorry, my throat is scratchy. But, you know, it's like, but once it came to time to ship it, they had no clue what they were doing. That's the way it felt. Now, I'm not trying to come down on this company, but this is the experience I had. That it was like, once it came time to ship, the company had no idea what was going on. So when I called in to find out what's going on, hey, you know, you've been communicating for me for a week straight, telling me every step you're going through, and then you stop communication altogether. I mean, had I just sent in my money and it received no communication, fine. But if you're going to send me communication on every step you're doing and then you stop altogether, there's something wrong there. So that's kind of the frustrating thing. But getting the computer, some of the negatives. Now, one of the things I made sure I did was not get anything from MSI. Now, back like 10 years ago, I had bad experiences with MSI as a company. So I was quite certain, like, they offered the Asus motherboard, which was a little bit cheaper, which should have been a clue to me about something else, which I'll explain in a sec. But I decided to get an Asus motherboard instead of the MSI motherboard. But when I got my video card, it's an MSI video card. I'm like, oh man, I didn't want MSI. But when it came time to select my video card, it didn't say, hey, this is from this company, this is from that company. They just gave me the choice of video card, and I picked it based on its type. But maybe MSI has improved as a company within the last 10 years. So, maybe I'll change my opinion. I haven't had any problems with it so far. So, but then there was the audio problem. Now, I have a 5.1 surround sound system that I got in 2008. And amazingly, it still works. I'm very, very happy with it. But when I went to go plug it into this computer, it only had 3 audio ports. Now, since I've been building computers back in 2009, I've always seen motherboard with 6 ports. 6. This only had 3. And that's probably why it was cheaper, because it only had 3 audio ports. And it's not like they showed me a picture of the motherboard I was ordering. In fact, I went back through it and I looked, and you had to click on the icon for the motherboard to see what motherboard you're getting. But when it came time to select if I wanted an audio card or not, it showed me a motherboard with 6. Now, I should have done my due diligence. I take partial fault on this. I should have tried to see what the motherboard looked like. I should have gone on Google and typed in the motherboard specifically to confirm. But I assume that this being a high-end company, they would have 6 audio ports on there for people who want a surround sound system. I mean, I know a lot of people get into the whole headphones and everything, and they do offer those there, but they did offer a Sound Blaster card for like $70. And, had I known that this only had 3 audio parts, I probably would have gotten the SLI motherboard. Even though I don't need SLI configuration, I would have gotten it, just to make sure that I'd have the proper audio ports. It was like maybe $100 extra for that. But it's fine, because I just went on to Amazon and I ordered myself an Sound Blaster card, which was only about $40. But I wish I would have known. I mean, I went through step by step, and I'm quite certain I mentioned I had a surround sound system. And it's like, it's one little detail, but this is a company, again, that prides itself on being meticulous, and they couldn't say, hey, just a heads up, this motherboard you're choosing, which I told them which motherboard I was going to choose, only has 3 audio ports. That's about the only complaint that I have with this, is that I had to buy an extra card just to do what I wanted to do. And it seems so strange to me that they would offer a product that wouldn't appeal to higher end. 3 audio ports. That's the logic for it. So, other than that, those are minor complaints. This is a good computer. I really, really love it, even though I have to see the MSI right there. But again, MSI as a company, maybe you've improved. I don't know. So about this system, this has 32 gigabytes of RAM. That was kind of an impulse buy right there. I could have survived on just 16 gigabytes, especially doing video editing. You really don't need anything more than that. But, I want a computer that will probably last me 3 to 5 years without ever needing to upgrade it beyond getting the sound card that I needed to. Hold on, I got like a... Is it just that I got an email? Oh, good. The Cat and the Fiddle. For the calendar, she finally arrived. Oh, that's so good because she was having... Oh, well, that's no one's business. But anyways, if she's watching, sorry, I didn't mean to say that out loud. Unless you don't care. And then, well, you know. So, yeah, I love this computer. I love that this is glass. I didn't know it would come like this. And it's just like so great that it did. I mean, I'm both ecstatic about this computer while at the same time angry about the customer service experience I got. I love this keyboard. I love that these things change color. I love the monitor. The only thing about this monitor is that there's some stray pixels that come up, but all I have to do is poke them and they disappear. And that's not exactly a fault of the company. This is not even a fault of Asus. That's just what happens with LCD sometimes. I do know working at Dell that even if there was just one pixel right there, it wouldn't necessarily be covered under warranty. It's just par for the course with LCD, but it hasn't really been a problem. Just poke it and the pixel disappears. I mean, there's one right here that pops up. There's one right here that pops up. Not a big deal. So once again, amazing computer, lacking service, and I hope they improve. It's kind of funny because where is that? Oh, they sent a box with it. And what's a little interesting, it had all of my manuals in here for the various devices I had, which is nice. You know, that's funny. And also gave me a user manual, which is kind of really cool. Like, woo, wow. I actually have a manual, a certificate of ownership. Little funny, they provided me a disc for the monitor. I have no drive. There is no drive to like eject and put it into. No optical drives in this. So why would I need a CD? It also tells me how to connect a monitor as well. Thank you. We appreciate doing this. A lot of yada yada. Here's a thing that I find funny. Their instructions has CRT, which is one of those big monitors from like 20 years ago, which was very common back then. And also has VGA, PS2 ports, a high-end computer, and they think that I still have antiquated technology. I don't know if they're just doing this in like case someone might have something old, or this hasn't been updated. It seems a little strange to me about that. But yeah, I give this company 3 stars. And the only reason it's like the service itself, I would give it a 2-star because they did eventually resolve my issue. But I mean, it's more like 1.5 stars. I mean, that service is really lacking. And I really, really hope that they improve. But I give it, and I would give this computer by itself 5 stars. I am very happy with this computer. It's just the service. I recommend buying this computer. I recommend Digital Storm. But after talking about the company as I did, just be aware of what you're getting into. You're going to get emails at first about every step they're taking, but once it gets to the shipping, it's going to be stalled. They're backed up. And apparently they only have one person working there. I guess they need to hire more people for that area. And of course, with the whole Corona thing, I mean, I don't know what that's going on, how that might affect them. But, hire someone else. I mean, I paid you $2,000 for this, I'm not expecting you to, give me filet mignon, but at the same time, I want a good working relationship with this company. I mean, the computer I really wanted, this is an Intel-based computer, and they recommended I get AMD, and I agreed. But I want a Threadripper, like a 16-core. I mean, it's an octa-core system, but it has hyper-threading. So it's the equivalent of 16 cores. I know about hyper-threading. It doesn't give you double. It's more like 1.5. So it's more like 12 cores. But still, AMD Threadripper is amazing for video editing. And that's the computer I really, really want. And maybe in a year or two, when I do my videos, my instructor courses, I get my book out, I get successful with Primerica, I can get myself a better computer. But that's going to be like $4,000 to $5,000. And of course, they offer like up to $10,000 for a computer, which I don't know if I'd ever spend $10,000 on a computer. It's would be nice to have it, but I don't know. Wouldn't know what to do with it. And I've also been playing around. They have a workstation that if you really configure it, you could spend up to $40,000 for a workstation computer. And that's something I have no clue what I would do with a $40,000 computer. Maybe if I get into the whole VR thing, that's something I can use to design VR. I don't know. So I want to work with this company. I want this to be a happy relationship. They just need to improve their service. But again, this computer is worth all of that, but that doesn't mean that I exactly forgive them for the bad experience I had. So that's it for that. The only thing is with all the glass, I don't know how well you can see this on here, but this is all smudged up. I need to get in there and get some window cleaner and clean it out. That's like the only downside I have with this. And as far as I can tell, it runs pretty cool. It is a bit noisy. You hear the fans, but I mean, I play loud video games, so I'm not going to really care about the fan noise. And I'm almost tempted to put it down on the bottom there, but I don't know. I like looking at the computer. I like having the light display. And I could have gotten the memory sticks that would have the extra light on there, but I thought that was a little ostentatious, especially charging me extra money for that. Like, no, I don't need that. But it's a great computer. I'm so happy. I think the video card was designed in 2018, 2019. So it's maybe a generation or two behind. But still, I haven't ever had a modern computer. I've always had like a generation behind. Like I've had several generations behind that was mid-level. And that was the best I could do. That's what I could afford. And now I have this. And by the standards of their website, I mean, the cheapest you could have gotten was around $800, and they could easily have like a $10,000 computer. So in that standard, this is kind of low grade, but even then, this still feels like a modern computer. Like I checked on System Requirements website, and they said that I can play 18 of the top 20 games on the market. Like knowing that any game that I can now get, I can play. There's a very good chance I can play it. Especially overclocking the CPU as I have. I'm sure that those other 2 games that it says I couldn't play, I probably can play it. So, and it's good. I mean, if somewhere down the line, I might upgrade the video card, to something maybe even more powerful. I don't know, but it's great that this is a computer that I could probably have for the next 10 years and make little upgrades here and there as I need to. The only thing is that there's only like a 1-year warranty on parts. So if something goes kaput, I might have to ship the whole thing back. After that, it comes with a 3-year phone support warranty where I can call them up and get tech support for anything that goes wrong. What my plan is with the overclocking, it's at 4.6 right now. After that 1-year warranty expires, I'm probably going to downclock it to a 4.0, just to kind of ensure it. But other than that, I recommend this computer. I think you should buy it. I recommend this company, even though the service is questionable. And Digital Storm, like I said, I want to have a working relationship with you. I want to order more computers with you. And I thank you for the help that you gave me on the phone. I know that sometimes customer support agents, there's only so much you can do and your hands are tied and you bear the brunt of it. And I've tried to be respectful as much as I can. But the company itself, you got to do something. It's ridiculous, the experience I got. If you're going to communicate with me every step of the way, then you need to communicate when you're backed up. If you said, hey, it's going to take another month, I might have been a little upset, but I would have understood if you communicated with me what was going on. And yes, I did get it within 15 business days. Mostly, I mean, I had to wait extra days just to get the keyboard. So that's it. If you've managed to watch the rest of this, I mean, and yeah, it's minor gripes, but if I'm going to have a relationship with a computer company, I mean, I could have gone to Dell. I could have gotten a computer from them and probably would have been comparable to this. But, dealing with companies like Dell and HP, it's so impersonal. I mean, I've done Dell tech support, and I know what the company is like from the inside. I mean, not that I worked directly at Dell, but I worked for a third-party company that did service with Dell computers. And I don't want them because, like I said, bloatware like you wouldn't believe. And there'd be limitations on what I could do with the computer. Like that whole sound card thing, I'd have to order it from Dell, and they'd have to instruct me on how to put it in there. If I had opened that thing up and did anything, it probably would have voided the warranty. The fact that I could do this with this computer and not void the warranty is nice. I'm going to order from Digital Storm in the future. And I hope that the next time I order a computer, I don't go through this experience. I hope that somehow going through this experience with them improves them as a company. So that does it for me. Like I said, I'm working on my licensing exam so I can start doing stuff with Primerica. And at the very least, if Primerica doesn't work for me as a company, at least I know how to plan for my financial future. I don't know if I'm ever going to really be doing videos again on this channel. I do have an alternate channel, Concrete Desk Productions, and I plan to do something with that. And I got my videos on Udemy. I got books coming out in the near future. I got the Indiegogo campaign, so I will be doing videos about that. So let me know what you think. If you bought something from Digital Storm, tell me about your experience. Hopefully it was a good experience. I don't know what more to say. So I'm just going to go ahead and end it from here. So end broadcast. I'm trying to see if I can see quick enough, but this computer's too fast. It won't delay. Yes.